PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, where we break down everything involving your Vegas Golden Knights, we're going to be talking about the most recent matchup that happened and what an insane matchup this was. There were a lot of highs in this. There were some fisticuffs as well. And there was a lot of action to go over. So we're going to be breaking down every single thing that happened in this matchup here on Vegas Hockey Hub Recap. And this is going to be a really good episode here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. Go to our website, www.prconnectionsradio. We have around a dozen shows on the network, so I highly recommend to everyone watching all around the world, go to our website and check out all the content we have on there, including Vegas Hockey Hub. If you also want to follow us on social media, we are all major platforms at Vegas Hockey Hub. So if you are on our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. If you're on our Facebook page, if you want to like that, that would be much appreciated. We also have our Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, where we upload clips. We engage with our audience. We talk to all the fans all around the world. So go to our social media pages and check out all the content we have every single day we're uploading to Vegas Hockey Hub. And yeah, we have a really good episode, and there's a lot of fun stuff we're going to be talking about with this matchup that just happened between your Vegas Golden Knights. Now, before we get into the game itself, I do want to say something because we do have baseball fans who are on PR Connections Radio. MLB Opening Day 2024, and you do not see it because we do not have video, as we were at the Red Rock watching the game, recording this immediately afterwards. But the Chicago Cubs, Texas Rangers, MLB Opening Day, and as a Chicago Cubs fan, it is very good to have MLB back. I am repping my Chicago Cubs jersey. I was wearing that at the sports book at Red Rock as we were watching the Golden Knights game. And just want to take a quick minute and say to all baseball fans all around the world, MLB Opening Day, baseball is back in the sports world. So with the hockey season, the playoffs, and everything that's going on, I just want to take a quick second and acknowledge MLB and their opening day. Go Cubs. So let's get back to your Vegas Golden Knights, and let's talk about the current wildcard standings between your Vegas Golden Knights. As right now, with about less than 10 games left, your Vegas Golden Knights, 88 points on the season. And when you study the current wildcard standings, your Vegas Golden Knights, 2 points back from the Nashville Predators. And when you consider Nashville and what they have done in the most recent matchup that we had, in fact, the most recent game where we had the overtime situation with Nashville, those 2 points, very valuable at the end of the year. So Nashville at 90 points, your Vegas Golden Knights at 88 points on the season. And then when you're going to study the people right behind them, you have the Los Angeles Kings at 87 points. So you have a 1 point gap between Vegas and LA. And for the people who understand this, Vegas and LA are battling for essentially the third and final spot in the Pacific Division, with Vegas being at 88 and LA being at 87. Currently projected, Vegas would take on Edmonton in the first round of the playoffs, and the LA Kings would take on the best record in all of the Western Conference, and that would be the 101 points Dallas Stars. So the current wildcard standings between Nashville and LA, with Vegas only being 1 point up on the Los Angeles Kings. We still have to watch out for this and see what happens. I mean, it's going to fluctuate over the last 8 games, but you see your Vegas Golden Knights 1 point over LA, and they are 2 points back from Nashville. Now, the rest of the standings in the Western Conference, like I alluded to before, Dallas Stars, 101 points on the season. They have the best record in all the Western Conference. You have 98 points, which is the Colorado Avalanche. They would go up against a 94-point Winnipeg Jets as a 2-3 matchup in the Central Division. Now, over on the Pacific side, the Vancouver Canucks, 98 points on the season. They right now have a 6-point cushion over the second seed in the Pacific Division, and that is the Edmonton Oilers. So the way the standings are allotted now, you would have Vancouver going up against Nashville. You would have Dallas going up against LA. Your Vegas Golden Knights going up against Edmonton. And then you would have the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Winnipeg Jets. And like I mentioned about a minute ago, none of this is confirmed. There's going to be some moving around. There's going to be some seeding involved. But right now, for your Vegas Golden Knights, they are slotted as the 3rd seed in the Pacific, and you would take on the number 2 seed, and that would be the Edmonton Oilers. That would be one heck of a playoff matchup for anybody who remembers last year. In the second round, you had Edmonton versus Vegas. So having them in round 1 instead of round 2, that would be one heck of a matchup for the Vegas Golden Knights. And it will just be quite interesting to see what happens there. I mean, the rest of the matchups, Dallas and LA, that could be a good series. Vancouver and Nashville, both teams have certain strengths that would benefit them come playoff time. And then Colorado Avalanche and Winnipeg Jets, and it's fitting considering who the Vegas Golden Knights are facing in this video. But Winnipeg, they lose to Vegas, and then they're going to be going up against Colorado in the playoffs. Man, I really want to see what Connor Hellebuck does for Winnipeg against Colorado. But that's your standings update. Now, getting into the game itself, as we're talking about the recap here with your Vegas Golden Knights. And with the starting lineup, it really did not change for Vegas. When you consider what the matchup was between Nashville just a couple of days ago, the starting lineup has not changed. So let's just go over the lineup very quickly on the show. Now, on the starting lineup for the forwards, on forward line 1, you have Jack Eichel at center. At left wing, you have Ivan Barbashev. And then on the right side, you have arguably the best player in the Golden Knights, and that is Jonathan Marchessault. On line 2, you have a situation where line 2 for the Vegas Golden Knights, you have Pavel Dorofeyev, the young up-and-coming guy, someone who's really proved himself this year on the left as a left wing. At center, you have Wild Bill, and that's William Karlsson. And then on the right, you have Michael Amadio. So Michael Amadio on that second line with the Vegas Golden Knights in this game against Winnipeg. On line 3, you have Paul Cotter, who once again did replace William Carrier in the lineup after the Columbus game. And then at center, you have number 20, Chandler Stevenson. And then on the right wing, you have your trade deadline acquisition from about a month ago, and that is Anthony Mantha. And then the consistency on line 4, you have Brett Howden as your left wing, Nick Waugh at center, and then Keegan Kolazar at right wing. So your forward lines, once again, it is Barbashev, Eichel, and Marchessault. You have Dorofeyev, Karlsson, Amadio, Cotter, Stevenson, and Mantha, Howden, Waugh, Kolazar. Now, defensively, this has not changed as Nick Hague is on that first defensive pairing alongside Noah Hannafin. So until you have a situation where Alex Pietrangelo does come back, he is still out with that situation. We're not going to speculate on it. But Nick Hague, your first defensive pairing right now alongside Noah Hannafin. Over the last couple of games, they have actually done an amazing job in terms of the starting lineup. I think the chemistry between Hannafin and Hague has been noticeable for your Vegas Golden Knights. Defensive pairing 2 is Braden McNabb and Shea Theodore. This has been the constant for majority of the season. And with Shea Theodore and Braden McNabb, they both made a very impactful lineup in this game. In fact, actually, Braden McNabb did a very solid job in this matchup against Winnipeg. And then the third line, you have Ben Hutton, once again, in the starting lineup due to injury, alongside Zach Whitecloud. And Zach Whitecloud actually did a really good job in this game against Winnipeg. We'll talk about all of that later. So your starting lineup, defensively, once again, Hague, Hannafin, McNabb, Theodore, Hutton, and White Cloud. So defensively, that is what your matchups are. And so far, when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, a couple of games left in the regular season, and you really sit here and look at what the starting lineup is. And, Tomas Hertl, he'll be coming back. Mark Stone, questionable if he's coming back. But defensively, outside of Pietrangelo coming back, I really don't know who would be taken out of the lineup at that point. You could speculate Ben Hutton. You could speculate Zach Whitecloud. Granted, Ben Hutton has done a really stellar job since he has been put back in the lineup when Pietrangelo is out. Zach Whitecloud, he is someone who the Vegas Golden Knights are very high on. But once again, when Alex Pietrangelo does come back from what was an undisclosed situation, we will see who he takes in the lineup, and then Hertl and Stone may be coming back at the end. And in net for the Vegas Golden Knights, your starting goaltender against Winnipeg, Logan Thompson, after having a day off as Yuri Patara, he started the game against Nashville. Logan Thompson back in net for the Vegas Golden Knights. And he has not only won his last 3 matchups for the Vegas Golden Knights, but in this month, Logan Thompson is 3-1 for the Vegas Golden Knights, only allowed 3 goals in the last 3 appearances as he beat the St. Louis Blues 2-1 in overtime. Then when they beat Seattle, that was a 3-1 victory, and New Jersey was a 3-1 victory. So Logan Thompson, once again, back in net. Now, clearly the Adin Hill situation is a main reason why Logan Thompson is in net for the Vegas Golden Knights. We're not going to speculate here on Vegas Hockey Hub how long Adin Hill is going to be out for. But until he comes back, do not be shocked if Logan Thompson does some back-to-backs for your Vegas Golden Knights. But granted, Logan Thompson, his most recent performances, he has been spectacular for Vegas. I have done a video on this channel saying that Logan Thompson is the most valuable player on the 2023-2024 season for your Vegas Golden Knights. Kind of similar to last year, how I had Chandler Stevenson as the team MVP during the 2022-2023 regular season. Well, Logan Thompson, he would be my vote for what he did this year. Absolute workhorse, put the team on his back during Adin Hill's injury. So for Logan Thompson in net for the Vegas Golden Knights in this matchup, and I can really appreciate what LT has done and the fact that he has, like I said, won 4 games in a row. I have to give him a lot of credit. He has been bailing out the Golden Knights at times and has done an excellent performance between the pipe. Now, for your Vegas Golden Knights, as this game did kick off and the puck dropped to begin the game, in the first period, the physicality was already on display. There was some good back and forth at the Canada Life Center out there in Winnipeg. And not even 2 minutes into the first period, here goes the fisticuffs. Ding, ding, ding. Let's drop the gloves and go. As number 55, Keegan Kolazar would fight Logan Stanley, number 64, for the Winnipeg Jets. This was a good fight in the NHL. One of the rarities you have in the NHL nowadays. You really do not see the physicality that you saw in this situation. And when it came to a fight, I think Keegan Kolazar and Logan Stanley, they did a really stellar job. And I will say, it has been a while since you had the Vegas Golden Knights get into an actual fight. We have seen scrums, we've seen shoves back and forth and stuff like that. But to see an actual fight where both guys drop the gloves and go, that was a real exciting situation to see 2 minutes into the game. So, yeah, Logan Stanley, defenseman for the Winnipeg Jets, a former first-round pick, might I add. He did drop the gloves against Keegan Kolazar for your Vegas Golden Knights 2 minutes into the game and definitely brought the intensity right away. If I have to give any credit to the Vegas Golden Knights in the first period, the amount of hits that were in this game. I mean, you had guys like Zach Whitecloud with 5 hits in the game, Kolazar with 5 hits, Ivan Barbashev, even he had 5 hits in this game. When it came to the physicality, you could really see that they're starting to get into that playoff hockey mentality because the intensity come playoff time is definitely on full display once it matters. And for your Vegas Golden Knights, 46 hits in this game against Winnipeg. Winnipeg had 41 hits in this game. So to have a matchup where 87 hits combined between two teams, you could see the action was on full display. And I did like kind of the rough, tumble and all of that stuff that happened in this game. So for your Vegas Golden Knights, like I mentioned before, not even 2 minutes in, and you had Keegan Kolesar fighting Logan Stanley between the Winnipeg Jets and Vegas Golden Knights. And, I do have to mention this when it comes to Keegan Kolesar. I did say that he doesn't get in fights that often, but I had to look this up just for this episode. And Keegan Kolesar, it actually kind of is kind of amazing that Keegan Kolesar, this is his first fight in a while, actually. So with Keegan Kolesar fighting Logan Stanley, but the last time, and this is kind of on record here, the last time that Keegan Kolesar got into a fight was, you have to go a little bit back here, and we're going to be talking about the most recent fight he had before the Logan Stanley fight, and it was against the Florida Panthers organization back in December 23rd against Ryan Lumberg. So yeah, that is right. It has been over 4 months since we had a fight with Keegan Kolesar. And there's been some scuffs. There have been some roughing penalties, him defending, a goaltender. I remember against Vancouver earlier in the month, Pius Suter, he roughed up Aiden Hill. Keegan Kolesar got a roughing penalty as a retaliation. But in terms of an actual fight where they dropped the gloves and went, Keegan Kolesar fighting Logan Stanley the first time since Ryan Lumberg, and that was in December 23rd against Florida. So it's been a while since we've seen Keegan Kolesar drop the gloves for your Vegas Golden Knights. So after this, in the first period, halfway into the first period, your Vegas Golden Knights would actually be on the penalty kill for the first time, as Chandler Stevenson would get a tripping penalty against Nino Niederreiter. Unfortunately, Chandler Stevenson would go to the box, and the Winnipeg Jets would be on the power play. And there was an opportunity by Winnipeg. In fact, there was a shot that just went wide past Logan Thompson. And your Vegas Golden Knights would be 1-for-1 on the penalty kill, as they would kill this off. And your Vegas Golden Knights would remain at a 0-0 situation, as we were talking about this recap between the Vegas Golden Knights and the Winnipeg Jets. And your Vegas Golden Knights, there was some shots that just went a bit far. As a matter of fact, there was actually a shot in midway of the first period where Jack Eichel, it just went far. It did not connect against Connor Hellebuck. It would stay a 0-0 game in the first period. Now, with about 5 minutes left in the first period, your Vegas Golden Knights, they would be rushing from the defensive zone, getting to the neutral zone. There would be a very odd man rush situation. Then it would create an opportunity on the offensive zone. William Karlsson, he would be able to find a connection, as William Karlsson, as he is skating around, he is on that same line with guys like Pavel Dorofeyev and with Michael Lamadio. And William Karlsson, after a while, he does find his man, and with 5 minutes left in the first period, Pavel Dorofeyev with a dozen goals on the year, his 12th of the season, assisted by Wild Bill, and it would be a 1-0 game for the Vegas Golden Knights. And Vegas Golden Knights, really good job by Pavel Dorofeyev, and just to make that a 1-0 game in the first period. And then with about 4 minutes left in the first period, your Vegas Golden Knights would get their first power play opportunity, as Nick Waugh would catch a high stick from Mark Scheifele. Mark Scheifele would go to the penalty box. Nick Waugh would be okay. And on the power play, you would have a Jonathan Marchessault situation where he just went far wide. It just went wide right. It did not get past Connor Hellebuck. It was a shot opportunity by Jonathan Marchessault. It just did not connect. And after all of that, the end of the first period, your Vegas Golden Knights in this matchup against the Winnipeg Jets, it would be a 1-0 game. And it would be where your Vegas Golden Knights had the momentum going down the tunnel. And after the first intermission, Vegas Golden Knights would be up 1-0 against Winnipeg, and before getting into the second period. So now getting into the second period with your Vegas Golden Knights. And an unfortunate situation happened in the second period as defenseman Noah Hanifin went down the tunnel. Now, obviously, this is all precautionary. He did come back later in the game. But, anytime a player goes down the tunnel, regardless of the circumstance, we do want to talk about it here on the show. So, yeah, Noah Hanifin, before around the beginning of the second period, he did go down the tunnel after a situation with Winnipeg. So, for Noah Hanifin, this is going to be, a guy, top pair defenseman, someone who your Vegas Golden Knights are going to have to count on long term, especially come playoff time. So you never want to see a player go down the tunnel, but that is what happened with Noah Hanifin at the beginning of the second period. And, Nick Hague, I think they actually had, one or two shifts where Hanifin was not on there, but he did go down the tunnel. So after this, the Vegas Golden Knights, Winnipeg Jets, and Winnipeg would tie up the game. Unfortunately, would be a 1-1 situation as Sean Monahan, who has been a really good acquisition by the Winnipeg Jets ever since they acquired him, scored his 23rd goal of the season, assisted by defenseman Dylan DeMello and forward Nikolai Ehlers. And just like that, your Vegas Golden Knights would be tied at the beginning of the second period. To me, you can't win shutouts every single time. That would be a beauty. I mean, that would be amazing if you could have a shutout every single game. But you can't do that, unfortunately. So when it came to your Vegas Golden Knights in the second period, like I said, Sean Monahan, 23rd goal of the season for Winnipeg, and would tie up the game at 1 apiece between Winnipeg and Vegas. So this would be the only scoring in the second period, but there would be some sloppy penalties that did happen with your Vegas Golden Knights, as unfortunately at the 5-minute mark of the second period, Josh Morrissey would get a cross-checking on Jonathan Marchessault, so the Vegas Golden Knights would go to the penalty box. Marchessault would sit in the bin for a little bit, and it would be a 2-minute penalty kill for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, thankfully, for your Vegas Golden Knights, it would be a successful penalty kill, 2 for 2 on the game. And a couple minutes later, a holding penalty on Nick Waugh. He would go to the penalty box only about half a minute after Marchessault cleared the penalty box. So, second penalty of the period for the Vegas Golden Knights, back on the penalty kill. And even though there was an opportunity by the Winnipeg Jets as Mason Appleton did have a shot that just did not connect, your Vegas Golden Knights would go 2 for 2 on the penalty kill in that period, and they'd be able to stay at a 1-1 game. Now, with 5 minutes left in the second period, Brett Howden would have a slashing penalty against Mark Scheifele. He would go to the penalty box. So for the 4th time in the game, your Vegas Golden Knights would be on the penalty kill. And I don't know if you should give credit to this or if you should be bashing it, but your Vegas Golden Knights 4 for 4 on the penalty kill. So you killed off the Stevenson penalty in the first period. You killed off the Marshy penalty in the second period, Waugh and Howden. So 4 for 4 on the penalty kill. And your Vegas Golden Knights, hey, I'm going to give credit to Winnipeg. Kyle Connor, he had a chance that just went over the net. Ehlers, he had one that just got stopped by the pad with Thompson. And then you had Nino Niederreiter, who was on the odd man rush, but it just went wide. So for your Vegas Golden Knights, I sit here and say 4 for 4 on the penalty kill within the first 2 periods. That is a very good statistic to have. The fact that you could kill off penalties, however, creating those penalties is a concern, all right? It is a concern that you did have to have that many penalties to begin with your Vegas Golden Knights. So at the end of the second period, tied 1-1 at the Canada Life Center out there in Manitoba. And as they were going down the tunnel for intermission, you have Vegas, you have Winnipeg, you have 2 teams that are playoff contenders trying to compete in the Western Conference. And I really sit here and look at what was going on in the second period. Defensively, that was a strong suit with the Vegas Golden Knights. You had people like Nick Hague and with Braden McNabb who had multiple hits in this game. And you also had a fact that when it came to block shots, I mean, Braden McNabb, 5 block shots in this game. Solid job by him. So, yeah, defensively, Braden McNabb did what he had to do. When it came to, for example, the amount of hits in this game, I alluded to it in the beginning, but 5 hits by Ivan Barbashev and Keegan Kolazar in this game. And, when it comes to the amount of saves in this game, Logan Thompson, 40 shots against. So, yeah, Winnipeg definitely made it a long night for Logan Thompson, and he had to earn this win for the Vegas Golden Knights. So, second period, tied 1-1, and getting into the third period, there was a lot of action, and we're going to get into that in just a second here on Vegas Hockey Hub Recap with your host, Ian Rachiele. Here on Vegas Hockey Hub, PR Connections Radio, go to the website, prconnectionsradio.com. Now, to start out the third period for your Vegas Golden Knights, there was a hooking penalty against Braden McNabb. That was the 5th time your Golden Knights would be on the penalty kill. They did kill this off, thankfully, for your Vegas Golden Knights. But that is not the main penalty that happened in this third period, as about halfway into the third period, Nick Hague would get a illegal check to the head as he hit Vladislav Nemestikov. And because of that hit that he did to Nemestikov, Mark Scheifele would fight Nick Hague. Mark Scheifele, he instigated it, he caused it, but he would fight Nick Hague. Hague would get a 5-minute fighting penalty. Scheifele would get a 5-minute fighting penalty on top of a misconduct penalty for Scheifele and the instigator. So Mark Scheifele, 19 penalty minutes in this game. 17 of those happened in just this incident alone, when Mark Scheifele thought it was a great idea to try to fight Nick Hague. So, I'm not going to sit here and defend what Nick Hague did. Yes, it was a hit to the head, but I don't think that it was a intentional hit to the head. But, anytime you get a check and anytime it gets anywhere near the head area, I understand why Scheifele reacted to the way he did. But still, you gave yourself 17 penalty minutes in a span of 1 second. So Mark Scheifele, instigator, and a misconduct penalty after trying to fight Nick Hague halfway into the third period. Now, in the rest of the third period, your Vegas Golden Knights would actually drive away with this game, as about 6 minutes left in the third period. Ivan Barbashev, with his 17th goal of the season, assisted by defenseman Zach Whitecloud and wing Anthony Mantha. So just like that, 6 minutes left, and your Vegas Golden Knights, Barbashev gets you on the board and into the lead at the Canada Life Center in Winnipeg. And then a few minutes later, the Winnipeg Jets would have an empty net situation. Connor Hellebuck would go to the bench, and this guy would capitalize on it, get his second goal of the game, as Ivan Barbashev, 18th goal of the season. It would make it a 3-1 game with less than 90 seconds in the game. Oh, but we're not done, because you see that it said 3-1 after the Ivan Barbashev empty net. Well, the Winnipeg Jets decided to pull Connor Hellebuck again. So a empty net situation with less than 30 seconds in the game. William Karlsson passes it to Jack Eichel, and Jack Eichel, on an empty netter, gets his 25th goal of the season. And just like that, your Vegas Golden Knights pick up the victory. They get the win, a 4-1 against Winnipeg. And really good situation here. This is the third out of the 4-game road trip, and they have scored points in every single game of this road trip. Really proud of what the Vegas Golden Knights have done here. Now, for player of the game, him scoring 2 goals, 5 hits, he was a very good player throughout this entire game. I have to give it to Ivan Barbashev. He did an excellent job against Winnipeg tonight. 2 goals, and was a contributor all night long. Here is the win-loss record for the Vegas Golden Knights at this point. 40 wins, 25 losses, and 8 overtime losses. Now, 2 days from now, the Vegas Golden Knights will be in Minnesota on the 4th and final game of this road trip. We're definitely going to be doing a video on that as well. So until next time, here's the Vegas Hockey Hub recap. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And until next time, continue watching hockey, go support junior hockey, and go Knights, go.